What's going on, everybody, and welcome back into the Brenden Schaeffer St. Louis Cardinals Writer YouTube channel. If you want Cardinals content the rest of the offseason and into 2024, make sure you hit that subscribe button in the bottom right-hand corner. We're talking all things Cardinals here all year round. But today, we're not really talking much Cardinals. We're talking Shohei Ohtani because that is the news that is shattering the baseball, internet, the social media outlets everywhere going nuts over the contract that the Los Angeles Dodgers have reportedly given Shohei Ohtani, the best player in Major League Baseball. Holy smokes. I hope you're sitting down if you haven't seen the numbers yet. 10 years, $700 million for Shohei Ohtani from the Dodgers, the only team that could have conceivably given a $700 million contract. Maybe the Dodgers or the Yankees, right, would be the two. And it ends up being the Los Angeles Dodgers. The most common, obvious answer is the one that it ends up being for Shohei Ohtani, despite the fact that he can't pitch this coming season, right? Had elbow surgery, needed a second one. I believe this was like the modified version of Tommy John, the repair maybe that he had. Actually, I'm not even 100% clear what surgery he had, but I know that it was elbow related. He had Tommy John once previously in his career. The Dodgers don't seem concerned because they know that Shohei Ohtani, the hitter, is worth a heck of a lot of money, and they potentially land Shohei Ohtani, the pitcher and the hitter, for the next decade. It'll just be 1 year that he's not able to pitch, and then beyond that, he could be back to being a Cy Young candidate at the same time as he is an obvious perennial MVP candidate. And now, folks, he's coming to the National League, and the Cardinals will face Shohei Ohtani's Dodgers to begin the 2024 campaign, starting the season, I believe, with a 4-game series out in Los Angeles. This is unbelievable. I tweeted out a few minutes ago, and we'll talk more about the contract info as it comes in, but give me your reaction. I want to say first and foremost, again, most of our stuff on this channel is going to be Cardinals, but we're a baseball channel, we're baseball fans, and we want to continue to cover everything going on in the game as well. Drop your comments below. What do you think of the contract? And knowing the numbers that we know now, are you surprised that the Cardinals weren't involved? I think everybody is going to have the same answer to that one when Cardinals fans would say, why don't the Cardinals just, drop their nuts on the table and say, Ohtani, this is where you need to be. Pay him a big salary. Well, 10 years, $700 million. Look, the Cardinals, I don't think, have ever given a $100 million contract in free agency to a player that's never played for the Cardinals before. The Matt Holliday deal doesn't apply there because he was a Cardinal down the stretch, and then they re-signed him in free agency to $140 million, whatever that contract was. Wilson Contreras gets $87.5 million, and that was the big deal for the Cardinals last offseason. Yeah, multiply that by 8 or 9, and you have the total outlay financially for the Dodgers on Shohei Ohtani. I've seen that there's deferred money here, so he's going to be basically paying until he's gone from this earth, or I should say getting money from the Dodgers until he is gone from this earth. I don't know exactly what all the details are. I'm sure that will come out. Just an incredible amount of money, nearly $750 million. Obviously the largest contract in baseball history. But as I was getting ready to mention, I tweeted this out a little bit ago that over in Nashville for the MLB winter meetings, I split a hotel room with Jeff Jones, who covers the Belleville News-Democrat. And one morning he tends to wake up earlier. So he had gotten up, gotten his shower, and was basically packed and ready to go over the winter meetings. I was still sleeping. I wake up. He's sitting there ready to be out the door and says, Shohei, 12 and 680. I think he said to the Red Sox, but he goes, yep, Shohei, 12 and 680. And I've still got, crusties in my eye, and I'm kind of waking up groggy. And I go, did you just say the number 680? Is that what you said? And he goes, no, I'm just kidding. That didn't actually happen. And I was like, I was going to say, because I was up till after 2 a.m., how would they have done? Would they have done it at 3 a.m? Probably not. So he was just trying to get me on one, to dupe me, and say 12 and 680. Little did we know, however, that was not aggressive enough. He was not ambitious enough with the contract that Ohtani ultimately signed. Fewer years than the 12 that he said when he was just teasing me, and more money. So $70 million on an average annual value. I see Hector Gomez, who is a Latin American reporter, covers baseball, broke it down of what Ohtani will earn for the next 10 seasons. $116,000 a month, which I broke it down to say basically every 2 days he's going to earn the MLB minimum salary during the season, right? Because they only play 6 months of the season. So if he's making $70 million a year, 180 days, that's, like 360,000 a day, basically. I think the Hector Gomez per month maybe is missing a digit here, because it's going to be certainly more than $116,000 per month, maybe 11 million per month during the regular season. Per game, 400,000. I mean, some of these numbers are just absolutely outlandish. He even broke it down to he'll make $50 a second. Ohtani, the richest player in baseball history, at least the richest contract in free agency. Just an absolutely crazy number. No, you shouldn't be surprised that the Cardinals weren't involved in this. Can you imagine all of the stuff that was being discussed as it pertains to the Toronto Blue Jays? Can you imagine any team but the Dodgers signing this guy to a $700 million contract? It's crazy. But if you're the Dodgers, this is a move you had to make, because you're trying to get World Series stacked on one another. You know you've got a great team, and he wanted to go somewhere that he wanted to win. And I think the Dodgers, man, who are already so dangerous, this is why they didn't go crazy spending last offseason, by the way. They were gearing up for a run at the most unique player that baseball has ever seen. And now he's in the National League. Are you excited about that, Cardinals fans, or does it make you worry and say the window for any other NL team is now shrinking in order to get through the National League playoffs and into the World Series? You're going to have to go through Shohei Ohtani and the Dodgers. I would say that, yeah, it's going to be tougher now, but from a Cardinals perspective, if I'm being honest, you mostly just have to worry about the Cardinals, right? Like, they weren't in the mix last year, 71 and 91. It wasn't like the lack of Ohtani suddenly, made the Cardinals a player in 2023. No, the Cardinals were not anywhere close to October, not anywhere close to the postseason. Adding Ohtani in there takes a team that was already going to be the team to beat and make them even more so. And I think he could be important to a Dodgers team, obviously not just from the lineup perspective and what he'll bring as a pitcher beginning in 2025 when the elbow heals up, just from the perspective of the guy is a winner, I think. And I know that with the Angels, he didn't get a chance to do that, but baseball is a sport where you got 26 guys on a roster, 40 guys on a 40-man roster that all have to be contributing toward the same goal. But like you saw in the World Baseball Classic, he's with Team Japan and gets the win there. I think this guy on a team that's actually good instead of a dumpster fire like the Angels, it's going to be a difference that the Dodgers are going to just be taken to another level. So, yeah, that's a bit of concern, I think, if you're the rest of the league. But at the same time, if you're the Cardinals, I think you just kind of have to worry about what you do and how you can improve and close that gap. The largest contract in MLB history. Previously, I believe Mike Trout, looking at Josh Jacobs, who was with Fansided, I believe, Redbird Rants. He's got Mike Trout, $426 million as the second largest. This is pushing double the Mookie Betts contract, $700 million. I don't know what I expected, honestly. Because if you're Shohei Ohtani and you're in your late 20s, why wouldn't you want that 10-year contract if you're not sacrificing AAV? Because if you would have said, hey, Ohtani's going to get $70 million a year, guess the length of that contract, I would have said 8 years probably, maybe 9. 10, it's obviously what has happened, and the market for him was clearly robust, so it shouldn't be too much of a surprise, but it is, that is a massive number. But for a player for people who don't understand, because I was arguing with people late in last season about the value, and they say, oh, it's a gimmick that he pitches and he hits. You're crazy if you don't understand the ridiculous single-handed value that this guy brings to the table when he does both. In this coming year, he won't. Again, he's not healthy to pitch, which is what makes it crazy. I thought that there was a chance that a team would tell Ohtani, look, you can't pitch this year, and we know that, but we're not going to hold that against you. We're going to give you 1 year, $95 million. We're going to give you $100 million for 1 year just to hit. Like if it was a case where he didn't want to sacrifice the potential upside of a long-term contract, obviously that didn't end up being an issue. With the way elbow surgeries are so reliable these days, clearly the Dodgers aren't worried about the fact that maybe he will come back and not be the same pitcher. That would be the risk if you're on the Dodgers side. There's no opt-outs in this contract. It's also been reported there's a lot of deferred money in this contract, which is going to allow the Dodgers to level out that competitive balance tax and not be just, completely bloated. They're going to be able to add around Ohtani to stay competitive. It's what the Angels were really not able to do, despite the fact that they had two of the best players in the game at the same time with Ohtani and Mike Trout. But I think it's really interesting that he gets that $70 million AAV knowing that he's injured right now. It just basically is like they didn't even consider that. Or maybe they did consider it, and if he weren't injured and they knew he could pitch this upcoming season, would he have gotten $75 million per year, $80 million per year? Like, what would the number have been in that case? But I thought there was a world in which maybe Ohtani says, let me just, or I should say a team would tell Ohtani, 80 million, 90 million, 100 million, we're just going to do 1 year at a ridiculous value where you're going to make more money than anybody's ever made in any one baseball season. And then after you're recovered, you could go into free agency just 1 year older and get the massive contract where everybody knows you're going to be able to pitch again. I thought there was a chance that that would happen. But the fact that Ohtani still gets the 10 years, he gets the term, and he gets the AAV. He didn't have to sacrifice. He's still getting more money per year than anybody has ever seen in Major League Baseball history. I knew it would be massive. I don't think even I expected that it would be to this level, right? If he was getting 10 years, I would have probably guessed 60, 65 million because, again, he is in an injured state right now. But look at this guy's numbers. Like, again, the fact that anybody would ever argue against the value of this player. He had 44 home runs last year, led the league. Had a 412 on base and a 654 slug. The OPS of 1066 led baseball, led all of Major League Baseball. That's just half of what he does. He isn't maybe the best pitcher in baseball, but to be able to add, and again, this was in a partial season, a 3.14 ERA, 130 innings, and 167 strikeouts. He is, if healthy for a full season, if you give him 30 starts and you give him 150, 160 games at the plate, he is the MVP and he is the Cy Young. That is the level of talent that this guy possesses in one player on your roster. So yeah, how much would Max Scherzer, how much would Justin Verlander earn in the open market in his prime? 30-something million. How much would the best hitter in baseball, Mike Trout? I know he doesn't bring defensive value, Ohtani, the way that a Trout or another player could because he only is a DH. But how much would the best hitter in baseball bring? 30-something million? Boom, you get your 70 million that way. I think it's well-deserved. Is there a risk? Sure. He could get injured. He could maybe never pitch again. Even if that's the case, you're just basically overpaying for a hitter who's still going to be one of the best in baseball for, what do you think, the next 5 years? Maybe he starts to tail off a little bit physically as he gets into his mid-30s. But, I mean, at this point, it is just inarguable. With Shohei Ohtani now still only 29 years old, he's going to be having this contract up until age 40. He'll turn 40, I guess, in the final year of the deal. Baseball's never seen this before. Don't give me Babe Ruth. I mean, Babe Ruth was great, right? 100 years ago, Babe Ruth was fantastic when the competition was just nothing remotely comparable. You've got every guy in baseball throwing 90s, mid-90s, upper 90s for the most part, the majority of pitchers. And this guy is mashing. And then he's going out every fifth day, and he is pitching like the best of them. High strikeout rate. He does everything. You guys know about Shohei Ohtani. To me, it's just the contract that's so crazy. How dangerous are the Dodgers going to be? I wonder how many people are throwing out their Dodgers mock lineups at this point in time. Take a look at Twitter and see what I can come up with here. Talking baseball, this is what they put out. Mookie Betts, who the Dodgers say is going to play second again this year. You go Betts, Ohtani, Freddie Freeman, Will Smith, Max Muncy, James Outman, who finished, I believe, third in the Rookie of the Year. I didn't vote him third. I voted Nolan Jones, but James Outman in center, Chris Taylor, Jason Hayward, Gavin Lux. So maybe you fall off a little bit, 7, 8, 9, but, when you have Betts, Ohtani, Freeman, and Will Smith is the best hitting catcher in baseball, Max Muncy is, that is a ridiculous lineup. It's insanity. That top three of Betts, Ohtani, Freeman, find me a better one in maybe baseball history. Because Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman were MVP caliber names this past season. That is just mind-blowing. $700 million for Shohei Ohtani. What's your impression of it, Cardinals fans? Or Dodgers fans? Anybody else who may have stumbled upon this video? If you like baseball, shoot me a subscription. Let me see if I can do this right. It's right here in the lower right-hand corner of the screen. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoy baseball content, but particularly Cardinals fans, because that is mostly what we cover here. I just had to jump on and talk about it for a little bit. What are the elements of this that you're most interested to see play out? Are you surprised that Ohtani got $700 million even though he can't pitch this year? Again, I thought it might be a case where he would take a short-term contract. The AAV would still blow our minds, but he would do that so that he could eventually cash in the major way that he wants to. But with the uncertainty of, what the future could bring in terms of injuries, why wouldn't you take the bag of money if you're being offered a bag of that size? Unbelievable. I hope we learn more about the process and the other teams and maybe what the other offers might have been. We know that Ohtani kept it very secretive, but I think that was by design. And now we're seeing the fruits of that labor, I suppose. Like Ohtani, there's no way to question it. It absolutely unequivocally worked out for him. And I think it works out for the Dodgers as well. If the Dodgers don't win multiple World Series championships during the next decade with Ohtani, I would say unmitigated failure because they have an absolute cheat code on their roster at this point. Money is no object. It must be nice to be a fan of one of those coastal teams. But if you're a Cardinals fan, how you feeling right now with the fact that Shohei Ohtani is basically, I don't know, 1/3 of the Cardinals payroll, more than a third of what the Cardinals final payroll will be, if you consider that they're probably not going over that $200 million number. Incredible stuff. Hopefully this is a move that allows the rest of the market to move in baseball. Like the winter meetings have come and gone. We haven't seen a ton of guys sign, not a ton of trades just yet. The Cardinals have mostly done the things that they set out to do. I think there still could be a trade for a pitcher, a starting pitcher in the offing, but I wouldn't be that surprised if they went into the season with mostly what they have from a position player perspective and probably some other bullpen additions that you could see. Maybe one of them that they pay a little bit of money to because they do have roster flexibility and payroll flexibility yet to utilize. But what are your impressions right now of everything going on around baseball in light of Shohei Ohtani signing for 10 years, $700 million? I am floored. I just had to get in front of the microphone and give my honest, instant reaction to how I am responding to the news. So thank you guys for joining me. Appreciate it. Let me know in the comments section if you have any other topics around baseball or around the St. Louis Cardinals specifically that you'd like to see me get into in a future video. We'll be bringing you content all off season long right here on the Brenden Schaeffer St. Louis Cardinals Writer YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe as well to my daily Cardinals podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. It's called Be Schaef Daily, and you can find it in those outlets. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll talk to you next time on the Brenden Schaeffer St. Louis Cardinals Writer YouTube channel. Peace.